Welcome to our latest video. Today we're shining a spotlight on an icon from Mondello del Lario, the Moto Guzzi V7 850 GT. We'll cover its strengths and weaknesses, what to look for when buying, and finish with a clear recommendation. Brought to you by Motorize, alle, your #1 source for new and used parts. The 850 GT is the laid-back grand tourer among classic Guzzis. A torquey transverse V-twin, shaft drive, plenty of chrome, and that unruffled composure that makes long days in the saddle a pleasure. One detail that sums up its character: the side covers proudly wear the 850 GT script, while its US sister model appeared as the Eldorado with a look all its own. Whether you're after a period-correct survivor or a well-kept touring machine, we'll give you the background you need and clear guidance on the market, history, and development. Evolving from the early V7 family, the 850 GT in 1972 marked the leap from the original 700 to a true long-distance 44. Its 90-degree V-twin, mounted across the frame, gained displacement and torque, yet stayed loyal to the low-maintenance shaft drive. The signature loop frame, the double-loop chassis, brought comfort and stability, quickly making the 850 GT the touring Guzzi of choice in many markets. In the US, the closely related Eldorado struck out with its own identity. It even found its way into police fleets, a telling sign of robustness and everyday usability. With a large-capacity steel tank, a twin leading shoe front drum, and tall gearing, the 850 GT paved the way for later 850s like the T-Series and the California. A period detail worth savoring: Veglia Borletti instruments with classic, finely graduated scales, touring intent you could read at a glance. Technical highlights: under the tank sits a transversely mounted 844cc air-cooled pushrod twin with 2 valves per cylinder. It's fed by a pair of Dell'Orto VHB carburetors that serve up clean, precise throttle response. Output is about 55 horsepower for roughly 170 km per hour, but what really matters is the generous mid-range that lets you lope along without rowing the shifter. Power goes through a dry clutch to a stout 5-speed gearbox, then back via shaft drive. Ideal for high milers. The chassis is built around the classic loop double cradle frame, with a telescopic fork up front and 2 long travel shocks at the rear. Braking is period correct, a large twin leading shoe drum up front and a rear drum with strong bite when properly set up. A 12-volt electrical system with Magneti Marelli components and the signature twin Veglia gauges round out the package. A lovely detail: the stock bar-mounted switchgear includes a separate choke lever, a little piece of analog mechanics you can actually feel. Design and ergonomics: the 850 GT wears the classic Guzzi look with pride. Long chromed fenders, a slender steel tank with pronounced knee scallops, and finely contoured side panels. The transversely mounted V-twin pushes your knees slightly outward. You sit close to the action. Ergonomically, it's built for distance. A wide, slightly raised handlebar, mid-mounted pegs, and a long, softly padded dual seat with a chromed grab rail. In the cockpit, Veglia Borletti Speedo and TAC sit in deep bezels, flanked by period-correct warning lights. A signature touch: elegantly shaped mufflers with a gentle upsweep, often by La Franconi, that give this grand tourer its velvety voice. Optional windscreen and panniers blend in discreetly without disturbing the lines. The result is a relaxed, upright riding position, excellent visibility, and plenty of room to move. Just the thing for covering serious miles. Handling and everyday practicality: out on the road, the 850 GT feels calm and confidence-inspiring. Its long wheelbase keeps it tracking true, the fork irons out ripples, and the rear shocks are tuned for comfort. In tight hairpins, it asks for decisive inputs and rewards you with a planted line and predictable feedback. The transverse V-twin pulls hard from the bottom and mid-range, ideal for unhurried, low-rev riding with minimal shifting. Everyday bonuses include a shaft drive instead of a chain, easy service access via side-mounted valve covers, and a large steel tank for respectable range. The twin leading shoe front brake builds force progressively, but only if it's centered and set up correctly. Another daily win: a stout center stand that makes tire, brake, and final drive work noticeably easier. Vibrations are present but settle into a cultured thrum at speed. Commuters will appreciate the slim silhouette, the low center of gravity, and that honest mechanical feedback. Classic motorcycling: unhurried and direct. Strengths and highlights. The 850 GT's virtues lie in its unflustered, touring-friendly nature. Flexible power delivery, a satisfying thrum without harshness, and the shaft drive's famed low maintenance. The loop frame brings calm, the ergonomics suit both tall and short riders, and the dual seat truly works for two. A standout is the generously sized 4-leading shoe front drum, period correct, yet beautifully easy to modulate when set up right. Then there are the quality touches. Chromed fenders, deeply dished Veglia instruments, and stout castings on engine covers and brackets. A special treat for aficionados, many bikes wear polished Barani alloy rims that not only look exquisite, they also cut unsprung weight. Parts support and the community are strong, making maintenance and restoration straightforward. In short, character, composure, and real long-distance ability. A combination that's getting rare today. Weak points and common issues. As charming as the 850 GT is, it has its quirks. The twin-leading shoe front drum grips evenly, but on long downhill runs it tends to fade. Careful centering and quality linings are a must. The 844cc engine is flexible, but it can weep at the rocker covers and the final drive oil seal. The stock 12-volt Magneti Marelli charging system with a mechanical regulator charges weekly below about 3,000 RPM, so it's not fond of city traffic. The gearbox has long, rather agricultural shifts, and a misadjusted dry clutch will snatch when pulling away. With worn swing arm bushings, the soft loop frame can develop a slight weave under braking. Aging Del Orto VHB carburetors often suffer from worn slides, making cold starts and idle fussy. In regular use, keep the rear drive splines greased and the drum brake properly adjusted. One specific check: inspect the center stand tabs for cracks. This is often where metal fatigue shows up first. Accessories and personalization options. If you want to sharpen the 850 GT for touring and everyday use, there are plenty of period-correct choices. Original parts or faithful reproductions. A tall touring screen, hard panniers on a discreet rack, crash bars, and a chrome luggage rack. Smart, almost invisible tech upgrades you'll feel on the road. An electronic voltage regulator instead of the mechanical unit. An H4 headlamp for more light, a modern ignition box with a contactless pickup, and heat-resistant linings for the double twin-leading shoe front drum. Chassis improvements that pay off. Progressive fork springs and quality Koni Icon shocks. Braided steel brake lines are moot with drums, but fresh, low-friction cables are well worth it. For authenticity, look for Barani rims and Lafranconi silencers. For a subtly sportier feel, fit a slightly narrower Tomaselli touring bar. A practical touch, a center stand lifting handle makes operation much easier. All of this can be done without irreversible mods. Originality stays intact, while long-distance comfort and capability improve markedly. Market value and buying tips. On today's market, the 850 GT is seen as an affordable doorway into the big loop frame Guzzis. Running, rideable bikes usually trade between €6,500 and €8,000. Very original or properly restored examples fetch €10,000, €13,000. Built from 1972 to 1974, it uses an 844cc transverse V-twin with shaft drive and a large twin-leading shoe front drum brake. Around 55 horsepower is typical. What to look for? Matching numbers, a straight, crack-free frame, especially at the center stand lugs and the steering head, and a swing arm with no play. Del Orto VHB carbs should be dry and in sync. Air leaks at the intake manifolds show up as an erratic idle. Check for play in the shaft drive U-joint, noises from the rear bevel drive, and weeping seals at the gearbox and final drive. Electrical gremlins, a tired wiring loom, weak charging, worn switches are common and should pull the price down. What adds value? Barani rims, original Lafranconi exhausts, correct paint, and period-correct instruments and switchgear. Sloppy Eldorado or California conversions drag values down noticeably. Verdict and buying advice. The Moto Guzzi V7 850 GT is a characterful tourer with a real long-distance heart. A refined transverse V-twin that sings in the mid-range, low-maintenance shaft drive, and a chassis that brings calm to the miles. If you love analog feel, honest mechanics, and an unhurried pace, this is a dependable companion for back roads, weekend escapes, or a big vacation tour. When buying, look for originality, solid electrics, healthy brakes, and a driveline with no play. A properly set up double twin leading shoe front drum makes braking relaxed and drama-free. A neat, everyday bonus. The easily accessible valve covers turn valve clearance checks into a pleasant hour in the garage. Our take: go for it if history, condition, and price all line up. If you're chasing high speed and modern rider aids, you'll be happier elsewhere. If you value character, comfort, and substance, you'll love the 850 GT.